A good day to you, and welcome to Pleomorphic Products Sanum Inc. We call ourselves the Pleo team, the people who distribute the world-renowned Sanum remedies in the United States. Welcome you. My name is Colonel Mueller, Felix Mueller, the Managing Director of Pleomorphic Products. Our goal is to provide you, our valued customer, with Sanum's quality education, quality products, and quality service. We believe the word quality is most important, all important in fact. Therefore, we build on that basis with 3 columns of business support. The first one is quality education. We do that by offering workshops throughout the United States each year, normally taught in different cities, I might add, normally taught by Dr. Kirk Slagle, who is our in-house medical education director. In addition to that, we conduct seminars here in Arizona where this film is being taped each year with doctors from the various parts of the country and from Europe that teach 3-day seminars. The workshops are generally 1.5 days. We also offer many books about Sanum products and therapy. We also have many articles written by experts in the field which appear in our monthly newsletter. We also have available protocols upon request. Dr. Slagle is available to consult with you, as are several other American and European physicians, to include Sanum Senior Consultant Dr. Konrad Wertmann. He's an MD from Salzburg, Austria, who frequently tours the United States. The second leg of our important work, in my view, is to provide you with excellent Sanum remedies. They've been proven to be effective for over 50 years and are sold in 27 countries worldwide. In the United States, our remedies are FDA sanctioned. They're manufactured in one location by the Sanum Kehlbeck Company in Hoya, Germany, in accordance with the most stringent good management practice requirements. No preservatives or other items are added to the products, and only natural sources are used in the homeopathic production process, which of course includes dilution and succussion. The third, equally important column of our support system to you is our quality service. Our staff is trained to support your needs. Please feel free to call me or Dr. Slagle directly if you have any questions or special needs of assistance. I'm interested to speak with each and every one of our customers to ensure quality service, and I look forward to seeing you at one of our workshops, seminars, or the convention where we exhibit our remedies for your review. I thank you for the time, and I'd like to introduce Dr. Kirk Slagle.
Hello and welcome. My name is Dr. Kirk Slagle. I'm the Medical Education Director for Pleomorphic Products. I'd like to take a few minutes of your time today to review the Sanum therapy as we apply it in the United States. The question is, what is Sanum therapy? Basically, it is a system of medical therapy that was developed in Germany that associates hereditary miasmic tendencies, imbalanced internal milieu, pathological microbial pleomorphism, and disease manifestations. The basic premise there is that it's a system of therapy. That's really the portion that I like to highlight, is that we're thinking about an overall system that we're working with. It's also a holistic treatment process that addresses the various imbalances that can occur with illness and with disease. And it consists of 9 medicinal product categories of primarily isopathic, homeopathic, and homeopathic medicines that address many acute and chronic illnesses. It's really a comprehensive form of homeopathic therapy that we have available to us in the United States that's a wonderful form of treating all kinds of conditions. There are 3 general ways that we work with the Sanum therapy. There's a prevention approach, whereby you might use a certain set of remedies on a periodic basis over the course of a year to treat general health and wellness. There's a symptom approach also, whereby you might use a certain remedy or set of remedies to treat specific symptoms that someone might be exemplifying. And there's also a sequential approach that's based on Dr. Konrad Wertmann's 4-step process, whereby we use a number of remedies over the course of many weeks or perhaps many months to really give a deeper effect in the body. Each approach varies with the practitioner. We tend to highlight the sequential approach as it gives the deepest, most longest lasting effect. The basic question that we often work with is, what is isopathy? Many people in the United States are familiar with homeopathy, but the isopathic term is quite a new one. Isopathy, as defined by Tabor's Medical Dictionary, is a therapeutic administration of the causative agent. In this process, the closest analogy that we have is the allopathic use of vaccinations, where you can kind of think about a vaccination, for example, a flu-type vaccination, might be able to be used to prevent someone from getting the flu. That's an allopathic concept, however. And what we're working with Sanum therapy is using symbiotic microorganism colloids that are normally found in the body, and they're prepared according to the way Dr. Professor Gunther Innerlein has recommended that they be prepared as a mechanism to assist in restoring balance within the host or human animal. The basic premise is that we're using forms of microbes, these basic forms of microbes, in a homeopathic manner to stimulate a healing response in the body. Homeopathy is a term that's become quite familiar in the United States. The homeopathic premise is something that was developed over 200 years ago by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, who's considered the father of homeopathy, although different homeopathic preparations have been discovered in years prior. The basic premise of Sanum therapy also revolves around homeopathy. However, we're thinking about it in a little bit different approach. With homeopathy, there's a process of dilution and succussion, which means shaking a remedy, and basically potentizing it or making it more potent. And the Sanum products are also homeopathic. But with the isopathic component, what we're thinking of is the material substance, that physical effect that we can also introduce in the body, which makes them most unique in a therapeutic modality. It's the isopathic component that really has the deepest effect and is supported by the energetic aspect of the homeopathy. The basic premise that we have to think about with Sanum therapy is that it's a milieu-based assessment. The milieu is described as the internal environment of extracellular fluids. This internal environment, or our internal terrain, is in a sense our own little garden. It's our own place through our lifestyle and our own health processes that we use to support our own health. And so basically a healthy lifestyle will support a healthy milieu, just as an unhealthy lifestyle will support an unhealthy milieu. That unhealthy milieu then will support the tendency towards a disease process. What we're really thinking about is the cellular level of this function as well. This cellular level is where all energy and action takes place. And if we have this cellular level congested or it's not functioning properly, we tend to manifest toxins, and that manifested of toxins tends to accumulate and support the disease process. So the milieu-based aspect is really a lifestyle process that we work with in addition to the Sanum remedies. There is also an association with pH and redox, or cellular function. Basically, how the body functions is somewhat like a small engine in the sense that we're thinking about fuel in equals energy out, and how well that energy is utilized is based on the function of that engine. And we use different markers to assess how well that engine, our body, is functioning. I've created for myself a proposed spectrum of energy density in treatment therapeutics. Basically, how I think about this information is that all healing modalities exist on a different energy density, from a physical, such as surgery end, or an etheric, like a prayer or consciousness or meditation kind of concept. And everything else sort of fits in between there. This is important for me because as patients come into my office, I like to assess where they're at in these different aspects and then use different modalities to affect different parts of that person, hopefully being able to bring about a holistic treatment process. The one thing about Sanum therapy that I like so much is that it's an energetic, physical component. So therefore, to me, it's a bridge between this energetic and physical world. There's a physical substance, these microscopic colloids that exist normally in the body that we're using symbiotically to affect a change, to create some health. And they're also energetically prepared. So we're working off the premise of homeopathy, which is hundreds of years old. A very solid process, in my opinion. There are a number of different factors that we work with in supporting the process of Sanum therapy. These are other European researchers that do not have a connection with the company, but their information supports what happens in the body. There's information that we discuss in our other classes about Perger's shock, anti-shock, and latency process in the body. Dr. Hans Heinrich Reckenwig's developed a cycle of homotoxicology. It's a 6-stage process of basic congestion in the body that if the congestion isn't eliminated, creates further and further problems. We review Pischinger and Heine's information on the connective tissue, or what they refer to as the matrix and matrix regulation. This connective tissue really is, in some respects, perhaps the most important component of the body. But it's the piece in medical school that we tend to dissect around and discard in order to look at the more valuable organs that you might find in there, or the more valuable tissues. However, according to their information and their research, this connective tissue perhaps could be the most important system as it becomes the mechanism to communicate with each cell in the area of the body. The basic premise of our information for isopathic medicine comes from Antoine Béchamp, who was a French researcher. Dr. Béchamp did a number of fermentation studies, and he would put together certain ingredients to expect a certain outcome. However, at certain times, he would get variations to this outcome. And the only thing he could conclude was that the milieu, the environment of his study, was actually changing as the fermentation process began. Therefore, with this change in milieu, different microbial organisms evolved out of this milieu, or changed the effect of the process that he was working with, and thus created a different outcome in his fermentation process. This whole process became a point of concern and also a point of benefit as we think about the microzymus, or this basic form that we're currently working with in the Sanum therapy. The man behind the medicine for Sanum therapy is considered Dr. Professor Gunther Enderlein. He's the one that really is responsible for the development of the isopathic homeopathic remedies and therefore the whole process of Sanum therapy. Dr. Enderlein was a professor, a zoologist, a microbiologist, and a researcher. And he spent the bulk of his life studying blood from humans and animals in real time through a dark field microscope. This basic process of assessment gave me what is happening currently right now with this organism, with the correlative details or the physical symptoms of that patient or of that animal. In that respect, you're able to draw certain conclusions between what you're noticing in the blood and the health condition of that patient. In reverse, you're being able to see the health condition of the patient and what you see in the blood. These basic forms of microbes that exist in the body are capable of changing when the milieu changed. And that was the basic premise of what Dr. Enderlein worked with, is this foundational milieu shift would create a change in the body and thus promote a higher development of pathological microbes in the body. It's really quite an interesting process. And when you think about how nature works, it must be the same process as we're observing every day without giving it a second thought. The basic premise of Dr. Enderlein's work revolved around what's called a cyclogenic cycle, or microbial cyclode. And in this process, there are basic forms of microbes, and in his case, he considers Mucorrhizomyces and Aspergillus niger to be these basic forms that exist in mammals, specifically humans, as we're talking about today. And these basic forms of microbes have what's called this cyclogenic cycle, basically a developmental process that they can go through when the milieu shifts. And this developmental process enables the patient to become healthy or ill depending upon the associated milieu. The idea is to be able to revert back to the basic form of the organism and the basic aspect or physiological aspect of the cycle in order to create a shift into wellness. This is where the premise of the isopathic homeopathic remedies come in, is by introducing them into the body, we're stimulating this isopathic homeopathic shift to revert these microbes back to a basic form and thus associate that process with wellness. Well, Dr. Enderlein was the man that developed what's called the Enderlein therapy, or the use of the isopathic homeopathic remedies. The Sanum company has taken his processes and the mechanisms of making these different remedies and gone on to produce what's called the isopathic homeopathic Sanum therapy. Within the Sanum products, we have 10 different product categories that we work with. The 10 product categories include 9 medicinal groups and 1 group of individual products. We have milieu modulators that affect the terrain of the person. These are remedies that specifically are designed to affect the milieu, or that internal environment. They support general different factions in the body, including the mitochondria, or cellular respiration, or cellular function. We have isopathic homeopathic fungal remedies. These are the basic forms that are used to stimulate a shift in the pathological development of microbes, be it bacterial, fungal, or viral. We have immunomodulating bacterial remedies. And the bacterial remedies are really significant in the fact that they help to modulate the pyogenic or fever-producing aspect. And in this place, what we're trying to do is bring about a responsive form of medicine rather than a suppressive form of medicine, as most medicines are today. We have a couple of excretion products that facilitate the removal of some of the pathological levels. A couple glandular remedies that support the basic glandular function, but these are geared towards the immune processes of the thymus gland or the Peyer's patches, the ever important immune component of the intestines. We also have a Sanukil products These are polysaccharides that are used as a haptene, which is a partial antigen. So it by itself does not provoke an antigenic response, but when it's combined with a cell wall deficient microbe or a mycoplasma or even one of their toxins, then what happens is there's a general immune response created now from this full antigen. So they're very important in being able to sort of bring about a change of something that might not be quite visible to the body. We have a line of Polysan products, and the Polysans are also a unique line of remedies developed by Dr. Carl Springler in the late 1800s. The basic premise of the Polysan remedies is that they work on this hereditary antigenic component that one might be carrying with them, so that we're being able to stimulate an immune response of some form of antigen that's laying in the body, sort of waiting for the opportunistic milieu. Then we have a number of vitamin mineral products, some botanical remedies, and individual products as well. There are a number of ways that practitioners assess whether they need to use the Sanum products. Electrodermal assessment is quite often used. Clinical presentation is probably the predominant form of assessment. That's where the patient would come into the office with a certain set of symptoms, and the practitioner would evaluate where they're at and then prescribe the remedies accordingly. Kinesiology, various forms of applied kinesiology are often used. pH testing, primarily of the urine. BTA, which is body terrain assessment, using the blood, the urine, and saliva. Dark field microscopy, of course, where Dr. Enderlein developed the process, and many practitioners today incorporate dark field microscopy into their assessment process. And then there's the pulse assessment. And the pulse assessment is a technique that's basically been modified from the traditional Chinese medicine approach, where you find the Chinese medicine pulses on the wrist, assess the pulse for the imbalances, and then by bringing the products into the body's field, determines how a regulatory pattern may or may not be experienced. So as the proper remedy is brought into the patient's field, the pulse will tend to normalize. Obviously, you'll need to develop some expertise with that technique. The forms of administration and dosages really give the practitioner of Sanum therapy a broad manner in which to use the products. We have drops that are available, capsules, tablets, suppositories, ointment, and oral sips, which are the sterile ampules. The number of products that are available also give the practitioner a wide range of use in being able to treat all types of conditions and basically all types of patients. We're able to work with people that are infants all the way through adulthood, whether they're extremely sick, using just a small quantity of the drops, to someone who's really quite well doing just a prevention or maintenance program. There's really quite a versatility that's available in applying the remedies. For the adult dosages, we often refer people to the materia medica, the isopathic homeopathic materia medica. And this materia medica is available through pleomorphic products here in the United States. And basically the materia medica recommends for each product the dose for each situation. In children's dosages, we use the drops basically at a prescription of 1 drop per year of age. The drops may also be used topically, so you can even reduce the dosage that way, and they may also be even diluted in water and given a smaller quantity of that. The suppositories can be cut lengthwise with a warm knife to reduce the dosage, and the tablets and capsules may be broken or cut in half as well. I'd like to thank you for your time right now. I appreciate you being here and taking your few moments of your precious time to look over the material that we have from the Sanum therapy. If you're a doctor or healthcare practitioner, we encourage you to call our office and ask about details for upcoming classes or additional information that we may have on various products. And if you're a patient, we also offer a practitioner referral service where we can find a practitioner nearest you. Just simply call our office, give us your city or zip code, and we'll be happy to find anybody that's in your area that uses Sanum products. Once again, thank you for your time and have a great day.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Dr. Wertmann. I'm an European medical doctor, and my occupation is I'm a pediatrician and a general practitioner. I over 30 years use the Sanum remedies, and therefore my next occupation for the Sanum company is to be the senior instructor and to be the senior teacher, and I have to travel around the world, over 22 countries last year, and have to bring some modalities closer to the different countries. I would like to discuss with you about the 4 steps, because the 4 steps are founded by me and are the result of 30 years experiences and are the results according to the 4 rules to Professor Enderlein. The step one is the milieu. Mr. Enderlein said always we have to treat firstly the milieu because the milieu is all. And the milieu means we treat the upper part of the small intestinal tract, and that is the duodenal part. And then we have to think about the atrophy of the mucous membrane in that part, and therefore we have to think on the diet without the primary antigens, that is that all parts of the cow's milk and hen's eggs. The next part we have to consider is that we get a bigger amount of IgA if we treat the mucous membrane in the upper intestinal tract. That means we can use that IgA later on for the bacterial remedies. As a consequence of a well-developed mucous membrane, we get the best developed bacterial layer, and therefore we can say we treat additionally the dysbiosis with the treatment of the intestinal tract. We have also to consider about the teeth, meaning the gum pockets, meaning the root treatment and the amalgams. Step two, we use the penicillium remedies. That means we use the remedies belonging to the cyclogenic cycle of the penicillium. That means we have a lot of them. For example, the notakale, the quentacale, the fortacale, the exmicale, also albicansan and pefracale, that remedies against Candida albicans and Candida parapsilosis. Those remedies and that step we use 10 to 14 days, and then we have a switch to the remedies of the basic cyclogenic cycles. Step 3 is we treat with the remedies of the basic cycles. That means with the cycle mucoracimosus and the cycle aspergillus niger. Mucocale is the product of mucoracimosus cycle, and we use it at morning. That means mucocale mornings, and nigersan, the product of the cyclogenic cycle of aspergillus niger, we use in the evening. Till here we have real isopathy. That means we can do that for weeks and treat also for months. For weeks, I mean in acute cases. For months, I mean in chronic cases. But don't forget 5-2-5-2. That means 5 days, Monday to Friday, we treat with mucocale and nigersan. And 2 days, that means the weekend, we treat with the penicillium depending remedies. Step 4. Step 4, we name the additionals. That means we can, that isotherapy combine with other different therapies, meaning the EEV according to Fohl, or the homeopathy, or neural therapy, or herbal therapy. But we can now also add the bacterial remedies, because the bacterial remedies have now 2 good conditions. That means we have a well-developed mucous membrane secreting enormous amounts of IgA and T3, T4 cells and B cells. And second part, we have a wonderfully well-developed bacterial layer. I have to say, for me, dear doctors and also patients, thank you for your time listening me, and I wish you good success in your practice.